Hi everyone, it's William O'Hanlon, mayoral candidate for Washington Township again. And what I'm going to do, because I'm not a politician, I'm coming from the private sector. What you're going to get from me is you're going to get to know me. If you don't already know me, because I know a lot of people in Washington Township. And I want to, maybe if you don't know who I am or you don't know of me, I want you to get to know me a little bit. And what you're going to get with me is not being a politician, is you're going to get honesty, integrity, and results oriented. Being from the private sector, that's what we do. And I have different ideas for Washington Township that I'm going to get into in another video, the Michelangelo Project. And I'm going to, present these ideas to you, and they're winners. It'll transform the Pike, and I'll get to that in a minute. But what I really wanted to do is let you know why I'm running. What is it? Why do I don't need to run. I don't have a zest or a zeal for power. I could just sit back and retire, but there's a reason why I want to run for Washington Township. And what happened is I need to go over my military career with you a little bit. As you know, in my Veterans Day video, I was a veteran. I was in the United States Navy. And when I was in the Navy, my ship got activated for Desert Storm. However, we didn't go because one of the battle operating technologies on the ship wasn't working, and they wouldn't put our ship into a battle zone because of that. But I was still in the military, and I was a signalman, and that meant I knew Morse code, and I was on the light, like talking to other ships on the flashing light, and also semaphore the flags like A, B, C, D with the flags, if you've ever seen that. And I really loved being in the Navy, but I got injured in the Navy. And what happened to me was, as a signalman, we needed to service the light that was on top of the mast of the ship. The mast is the, I guess, pole, if you want to call it, in layman's terms. It goes all the way up to the top of the ship. And at the top of that is a light. And being a signalman, you talk to other ships out at sea. And because of the curvature of the earth, the higher the light, the further the horizon. So during radio silence back then, I mean, the technology's different now. I'm going back to the 1980s. So you didn't want enemy ships to know your position, and you would communicate with other ships by those lights. The captain would come to me with a message, and I would send that to the other ship. The signalman there would write it down, bring it to their captain, and, we'd talk back and forth. That's how we were communicating. So on one of my reserve weekends, the ship was in port in Philadelphia, and that particular weekend, we didn't go out to sea. We were doing painting and maintenance work on the ship. That's required. And the signalman is required to service the light at the top of the mast. And of course, being a reservist, they sent me all the way up there. Now, I didn't have any afraid of heights, and I thought it would be fun. And so before you go up there, though, all the ships around you have radar. And when you see that big black thing twisting around on a ship, that's the radar. And that's very dangerous. So that's why the radars are always up high, because if that pulse hit a person, it would kill that person. It would fry them. So the quartermaster called over to the other ships and said, turn your radar off. We're sending a signalman up. He's going to service the light. So we looked around. All the lights are off. And now I go up. So I'm all the way up, a couple of 100 feet. It was really high. And I had a harness and a ladder, that you went up. And what happened is when I was up there, I started to get dizzy. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm not afraid of heights. And it wasn't windy or anything, so I didn't feel right. And then I started to get woozy, and I felt like I was going to pass out, and I started to throw up. And what happened was one of the ships turned their radar on. For whatever reason, they didn't get the message, and their radar began to twist. Now, if that radar had hit me directly, I'd be dead instantly. But it didn't hit me directly. I was just getting sick. And it acts like a microwave. What it does is it starts to cook your insides, like a microwave cooks your food from the inside out. That's what it does. So a couple of guys, I began to hang from the harness and lost consciousness, and they brought me down. The guy saved my life, and they brought me down. And then they brought me down to the ship's doctor, and they told the ship's doctor what happened. So they were watching me overnight, and I was in sick bay, or, in the ship's doctor's office, if you want to call it that. And I started to feel better. It wasn't a direct hit, but the ship's doctor did tell me that, if I wanted to go to the hospital, that I should, because it could do damage to your organs inside. And so I was feeling better, and then the captain came down. We call him the old man. The old man came down and talked to me, and he said that if I went to the hospital, if I felt sick and I wanted to go to the hospital, no problem. He had no problem with it. But if I felt okay, if I felt okay, they would take care of me there, and there was really nothing to do but just have me rest, and they would monitor everything, and I was fine. My blood pressure was fine and all of that, and I wasn't dizzy anymore, and I wasn't throwing up anymore. And because basically the old man told me that it could wreck careers if something like that happened. And I didn't want to wreck anyone's career. It was a mistake. It was an honest mistake. And I felt better. But one of the things that the ship's doctor told me was that it could sterilize me. And, I'm in my 20s, and I'm like, whatever. I'm not even thinking of that. And as it turned out, a few years later, when I was with a girl that we thought we may want to have a child, and it wasn't happening, and then I went and got checked out, and as it turns out, I was sterile. And I knew I wasn't sterile before. When I was younger, I just knew I wasn't sterile. I'm just going to tell you that. And so what happened was I couldn't have children. Now, you have to realize what that does to a man in his 20s. You don't think about it at first, but then you meet a girl, she's beautiful, you fall in love, and then you realize you can't have children with this girl. That it didn't feel right for me to do that to another person. If someone fell in love with me and I'm asking them to forego having a family, I just didn't feel like I could do that. And it affected me. I drank a lot, started to drink, and it affected me throughout my entire life, because that was something that was important to me. If you think about it, that's something that everyone does. Every single person has a family. And I wasn't going to be able to have kids, which meant I didn't want to get married. I didn't want to do that to someone else. And, it affected me a lot. And kind of part of what happened to me, I had to go for counseling for it. I used, I guess you could say the VA, but I got a counselor because I felt guilty that there are men in the military and women that are 18, 19 years old, and they get killed and they get paralyzed. And, here I am feeling sorry for myself for not being able to have children. And when you think about it, I was very lucky. I should have been dead. Instead of being grateful, I was feeling sorry for myself. And this went on for years. But the thing is that the great thing that happened to me is I found love later in life. And I found my wife, Karen. And when I met Karen, that was it. I quit drinking. She wasn't going to have any of it. And we got married, and I found the true love of my life. And so it worked out for the best. And as far as that goes. Now, this might sound ridiculous to you, but this is the reason why I want to run for mayor of Washington Township. And it has to do with the Michelangelo Project and the transformation of the Black Horse Pike. I'm not going to have any kids. I'm not going to be able to have a legacy as far as that goes. And I'm thinking the person who is the mayor, who is able to fix that Black Horse Pike situation because it's dilapidated, will forever be known as the best mayor ever of Washington Township. And that's why I'm running. I want to fix the pike. I don't care about power. I don't care about money. I could retire, but what I want to do is I want someday down the road for someone to say, you know, that Billy O'Hanlon, he was the best mayor Washington Township ever had. And that's the legacy I want to leave. And that's my driving motivation. And that's why I'm running for mayor. And I'm going to do another video, which is the Michelangelo Project, which will go into detail how we're going to fix the Black Horse Pike. But it might sound stupid to you, but for me, with no kids, no legacy, I want to be the best mayor Washington Township. I want people to say that was the best mayor we ever had. And he wasn't a politician. He was a private businessman, and he came in and he transformed the Black Horse Pike, and now Washington Township is beautiful again. And that's really the main driving motivator for me to run. Is I want to run for you. I want to change it for everyone because that Black Horse Pike transformation will increase the value of everyone's homes. And I don't want to get into the details now, but I know it sounds silly, but this is my driving, my motivating factor to being mayor, because not only do I want to be mayor, but I want people to say someday down the road when I'm gone, that Billy O'Hanlon was the best mayor we could ever have in Washington Township. So I want you to get to know me a little better. Again, I'm not a politician. You're going to learn to know me as a human being if you don't know me already. But that's my motivating factor. Give me a chance, Washington Township. I'll make you proud. Thank you.